If it was the intention of Donald Trump to make an example of Minnesota, then I'm damn proud of the example that the world's seeing. We believe in law and order in this state. We believe in peace. And we believe that Donald Trump needs to pull these 3,000 untrained agents out of Minnesota before they kill another person. And we're up here telling another story of a Minnesotan just trying to live their life without the interference. To Americans who are watching this right now, and I don't know, maybe you're watching it with curiosity, bewilderment, horror, scorn, or sympathy. I've got a question for all of you. What side do you want to be on? The side of an all-powerful federal government that can kill, injure, menace, and kidnap its citizens off the streets? Or on the side of a nurse at the VA hospital who died bearing witness to such government? Or the side of a mother whose last words were, "I'm not mad at you"? You're allowed to decide at any point that you're not with this anymore. If you voted for this administration, heck, even if you thought Operation Metro Surge was a good idea, sounded like the thing to do a month ago, you're still allowed to look at what's happening here in Minnesota and say, this isn't what I voted for and this isn't what I want.
My office represents the BCA and joined the Hennepin County Attorney's Office in a lawsuit last night, as you know, and we moved to prevent the destruction and or tampering with evidence related to Alex Pretti's shooting. And this includes any evidence the federal agents took from the scene of the shooting, preventing the state authorities from inspecting it. We've never had to do anything like this before. Never before. We filed that motion last night and for a temporary restraining order asking the court to take immediate action to preserve the evidence. And last night, within 2 hours of the filing, a judge granted the motion. For those watching around the country, I would submit to you that just as Portland and Chicago and LA were precursors to Minneapolis, Minneapolis is a precursor to a whole lot of other places that they have their eye on right here, right now, including Maine and several other states. If we don't stop this behavior here, it will only expand, and it won't be good for anyone in our country.
Absolutely. The question is about whether or not the BCA agents were on the scene of the shooting this morning, and they were continuing to collect evidence that they've seen. They're also doing some canvassing of the neighborhoods. I don't want to get into any more of the investigative process in this, but at the BCA, we are going to continue to investigate this shooting based on whatever evidence we're able to get, and we appreciate the Attorney General assisting us with the temporary restraining order to make sure that the federal government is retaining evidence that will be available, we would assume, to us at a later time. But the investigation will not pause. We are continuing to work on anything and everything that we possibly can.
This is an inflection point, America. If we cannot all agree that the smearing of an American citizen and besmirching everything they stood for and asking us not to believe what we saw, I don't know what else to tell you. This has to be the moment. Your government, here in Minnesota, I've made it clear, I'm accountable for things that happen here, and I will take responsibility for that. Someone has to be accountable. Someone has to hold the final decision on this. This is enough. And I would say, President Trump, you can end this today. Pull these folks back. Do humane, focused, effective immigration control. You've got the support of all of us to do that. Let our law enforcement continue to do what they do, making Minnesota one of the safest states in the country, one of the best places to live. Allow our children to go back to school. We have got children in Minnesota hiding in their houses, afraid to go outside.
A man is dead in Minnesota. Federal agents pulled the trigger. And now, the President of the United States isn't calling for restraint. He's calling it justified.
They have shot a man! What?
He's defending ICE. He's attacking local leaders. And he's accusing elected officials of inciting insurrection while demanding, where are the local police? On January 24th in Minnesota, A 37-year-old man was shot and killed during an encounter with federal immigration agents. Authorities say the man brandished a firearm as agents attempted to arrest a migrant. He died at the scene. Within hours, President Trump took to Truth Social. He posted a photograph of the gun authorities say belonged to the man, describing it as loaded with extra magazines. "What is that all about?" the president wrote. Then came the accusation. Trump blasted Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, saying their opposition to ICE operations amounted to inciting insurrection. Not violent extremists, not armed groups, but elected officials raising objections to federal enforcement in their city.
They have shot a man!
The president asked, "Where are the local police? Why weren't they allowed to protect ICE officers?" It's a question that lands hard in a country already on edge, already divided over immigration, already wrestling with the role of federal force in local communities. Trump didn't stop there. He called Minnesota's leaders pompous, dangerous, and arrogant. He told them to stop criticizing ICE and instead to let our ICE patriots do their job. Patriots, that's the word the president used, as a man lay dead and a city tried to absorb yet another violent confrontation. The president insists the alternative would be worse. He claimed that 12,000 undocumented immigrants with criminal records had been arrested in Minnesota. Many, he said, violent. He argued that without ICE, you would see something far worse than you are witnessing today. Those numbers and those characterizations are the president's claims, and they come as immigration enforcement remains one of the most polarizing issues in America. But what stunned critics wasn't just the defense of ICE, it was the leap. In the same post, the president tied the federal presence in Minnesota to welfare fraud investigations, referencing an ongoing scandal involving misuse of public funds. He alleged billions of dollars were missing. He compared it to a really big bank robbery, and he claimed the unrest and criticism were part of a cover-up. He even singled out Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, asking publicly why she supposedly had $34 million in an account. There is no public evidence supporting that claim, and Omar has not been charged with wrongdoing related to that allegation. Still, the president doubled down. "We want the money back now," he wrote. "Those fraudsters are going to jail." Across the country, outrage is building. Civil rights groups say the rhetoric is reckless. Legal experts warn that labeling political disagreement as insurrection carries real consequences. Local leaders argue they are being vilified for questioning federal tactics, not encouraging violence. And in Minnesota, a family is mourning. A man is dead. Federal power was used, and the president's response wasn't caution, it was confrontation. This is where America stands tonight. A president framing dissent as rebellion. Federal agents praised without pause. Local officials accused of treasonous rhetoric. All while the country asks the same questions about force, about accountability, about how power is used, and who pays the price when it is. This isn't just about Minnesota. This is about the language of power and what happens when it's spoken in anger. A man is dead, the nation is divided, and the temperature is still rising. Fuming, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz erupted in outrage after the third shooting involving federal law enforcement agents in Minneapolis in recent weeks, denouncing the continued violence as sickening, accusing federal forces of operating like an occupying force, and demanding accountability and an end to what he called a reckless campaign on Minnesota soil. Minnesota has had it, Walz thundered. Enough is enough.
They've written the narrative already,
And the audacity to critique the police chief of Minneapolis after what work that those heroic officers are trying to do, and to be critiqued by this guy. I mean, I don't know, I've said it a lot, but America, as you're listening, enough is enough. Enough is enough of this. End this. End this. And we see them moving to Maine. If you're in Boston, you're in Chicago, you're in Philly, you're in Miami, it doesn't matter. We can't live like this. Our children are in trauma. A 5-year-old, you saw the picture, the bunny hat and the Spider-Man. These are not like some narrative to throw around, to parade around in some coat you had made and act like you're a tough guy or whatever. These are people's lives, and we have rule of law. So I'll let the investigation play itself out. We will do our best to find it, but I don't know, you kill a man and then you just leave, your law enforcement, you just leave him. Is there a single case in American history where you just like walk away and say, I guess that just happened and we're not going to clean up our mess? I'm proud of Minnesotans. I'm proud of law enforcement here and our partners, and we'll get to the bottom of it. I think we have time for another one. Well, I spoke twice this morning, shortly after I received the call of this shooting. I spoke with the President's Chief of Staff, and first request was to get her people out of there, to get these federal agents out of there. They were going to cause more chaos. And second call is, with no uncertain terms, that we will investigate this. We will not be stonewalled. What we've already seen, and you saw it this morning, before any investigation is done, you have the most powerful people in the federal government spinning stories and putting up pictures, and unrelated people who we don't know anything about, and a picture of a firearm to try and spin a narrative. And I ask Americans, this will end when enough Americans say this will end. Do I have any confidence Donald Trump will do the right thing? No, I don't have a lot of confidence Donald Trump will do the right thing. I do have a lot of confidence that the majority of the American people will do the right thing. And I think there cannot be very many people across this country looking right now, after all the reporting that's been done, after everything that's been said, under the pretense that they are here about immigration reform, and quit referring to these people as law enforcement. They are not law enforcement. We have law enforcement who do an incredible job. And to listen to Greg Bovino denigrate the work of our people who are out there cleaning up their mess, no, I don't have a lot of confidence that he himself will do it. But here's what I do have confidence in. There's a whole lot of Republicans, for whatever reason, cannot find their spine. But they might find the ability to know that they're not going to win another election as long as they live, unless they stand up for what's right and stand up for the rule of law and stand up for human decency. And that's the moment.
So then, just to follow up, because then if that is not the case, what are the people of Minnesota supposed to do who are in the middle right now? Because if they do Stonewall and you're trying to investigate, is that force
it's a good question. And look, I speaking to the people of Minnesota right now, I hear that scream from you, and I'll continue to plead and ask you for peace. And I know the answer is, you ask us for peace and we give it, and we get shot in the face on the streets coming out of a donut shop. We cannot give them what they want. I don't know how to say this in so many terms, to watch the madness that we've witnessed over this last week coming out of the White House and what it's doing here. My confidence is, and I say it to Minnesotans, as I've said, exercise your First Amendment rights, speak out, bear witness and document legally. But I understand the risk in that. And I understand the courage that it takes to have people out there doing this. Thank God we have video. Because according to DHS, these 7 heroic guys took an onslaught of a battalion against them or something. It's nonsense, people. It is nonsense, and it's lies. So my confidence is this, Minnesotans. You know who you are, and you demonstrate it every single day, and we damn sure know who these people are. The American public knows, and this needs to be the event that says enough.